Hello there, welcome to this demo of the neural style transfer capabilities in Art Done Quick. We're going to have some fun today playing around with a picture of Brad Pitt. Like every style transfer demo ever, we've got to use this particular image because it obviously works very well. So I'm just loading up the edit screen and we can go straight to the effects. In here there are packages of 4 style transfer and other image filters. And I trained about 500 or 600 of these, and I've cherry picked about 50 or 60 to see what the possibilities are. So I'm going to start by looking at this one. This is a classic that you see in lots of the style transfer papers. And one thing to note straight away is that you can smoothly transition between the colors from the style and the colors from the original image using a luminescent overlay. Which you don't often see being tried out in style transfer papers. And you can also change the grain of the style. If we zoom in there, you'll see that it gets less grainy or more grainy. You see that more in other styles, and I'll show you one here which is kind of an Art Deco edges. So you can see that it's picked out the eyes and the nose and mouth and everything beautifully, and that's a really interesting aspect of style transfer. It does do really bespoke image filters. And so you can see as we zoom in here, the number and the size of the lines is changing. So we get from fine grain to kind of more blocky application of the styles. Okay, I can show you another feature. If we go down to the op art styles, you'll see this is a very severe style being transferred. And it's kind of ruined the photo, really, let's face it. But if you carefully overlay it, you can get this beautiful kind of zebra effect. So there's an alpha composition there over the luminescent filter. And of course you can change the grain of this as well. So if we zoom in, you'll see that we can get kind of larger stripes, or maybe this is a full face tattoo for Brad. And you can get smaller ones, more fine grained. Okay, so I wanted to show you a few more of these styles. Let's have a look now at some of these others in the op art package. So this is a classic kind of geometric using triangles and other quadrilaterals. To get a very colourful one, again, you can have the original colours. This one, you'll notice the style here. It looks a bit like Roy Lichtenstein. And this one is a classic kind of pop art style with spots. And one of the fascinating things is seeing how the styles interpolate between these grains. So it's pre-calculated 11 different styles, and you can now interpolate between them. It's quite a nice one. So I'm going to have another look at some other styles now. This one is kind of swirly, and again you can change the grain, and I'm probably going to settle on this one which is called Aztec, because it quite nicely picks out some features but doesn't too alter his face. And again you can change the grain of these. It's fascinating to see how that happens. I think I'm going to go somewhere towards the top end of that. Okay, now the other thing about the usage of style transfer in Art Done Quick is that you can layer up styles and see how one thing looks on top of another, because you have this compositing. And so I'm going to, first of all, click on the effects button again, so that is now kind of burned on, and I can try and add things on top. So if I put on paints, there's a muted paint palette here, which I got from a kind of well-known artist, and that is... it's given it this, that's not very nice, but it's given it this bluey, reddy, muted colour palette, which I quite like. But you can still see the swirls from the Aztec design behind it. So that's kind of a nice effect. Maybe bring it down a little bit. And the final one I'm going to overlay is a kind of grungy scribble that I got by training a model on a sample of handwriting. Now the handwriting was white on black, so it completely bleaches out the image and I've lost all that colours. But when you move the slider for this one, rather than using luminescent compositing, it uses multiplication. So you'll find that the scribble gets scribbled on top of the original colour. So this is pretty nice. And you can see the grain of the scribble is translating there. It's getting bigger and smaller as we move the slider. So I'll probably end up with a kind of an effect like that. So that's the Brad Pitt style transferred image, which is, you know, a fun thing to do. Another thing to do is that now we have that, if you drag an existing image on top of it, so here's me, not looking quite as beautiful as Brad Pitt, but trying my best. If I drag me onto that, then onto the already transformed image, then what I've really done is not just produce an image, but I've produced an image filter of all of those different transformations, so I can now see what happens to my face. The app doesn't quite know what you want, so it puts together a number of different designs with both my face and Brad Pitt's face in, but the one over here is indeed the same transformation applied to my face. And you can see that it's picked up the twirls from the Aztec design, it's got the colours from the colour palette style transfer, and it's got the scribble on top. So you can really get rapid application of a series of style transfers by just dragging a photograph onto one which has already been pre-manipulated. Okay, there are a few other things to do which are quite fun. So I'm going to get Brad back up and I'm going to give him a different hair colour, or a hairstyle. Let's face it, that hairstyle is a bit out of date now. So I'm using the Apple Pencil here to draw on top of him. Why not give him a bit of more spiky hair? And I'm also going to see if I can get a bit more character into his face, let's say with a liquefying transform. Because the style transfer is embedded in this app, you can do lots of fun things in addition or before or after doing style transfer. So there's his new haircut. As I said, I'm going to try and get a bit more character into his face with a carnival mirror, kind of wobble transform. Let's see how we go with that. Can we get one which looks pretty cool? Yeah. Well, that one's pretty cool. So a bit more character in his face then. And now when you apply the style transfer effects, it kind of makes everything look a little bit more or a little bit less artificial. So if we do this kind of laddering style, the hair already looks like it belongs a bit more than it did previously. So it's disguising things here and making everything a bit more legitimate. So this is quite a nice one which introduces a kind of watercolour effect. And you can get the grain from big squares down to small squares. And again, you can overlay things on top of this. So normally, when I train these models, I train them so you can have different grains, different sizes of the patterns and textures being applied. But in some cases, I did something a bit more fun. So here's one where I trained on a kind of montage of lots of different eyes, or lots of the same eyes actually repeated everywhere. I've done something wrong. I need to go back and re-get the ladder effect. And then, burn that one in, and then go back, get my eyes again, and so that's being overlaid onto the top of that previous effect. So if I go there, I get the colours from the watercolour style and the eyes. So the eyes were trained with 3 different collages of eyes, going from being open to closed. So if we drag the slider now, you'll probably be able to see that the eyes open and close, which is quite a nice effect. Can you see that happening there? Hopefully the video picks that up. It's quite an unnerving effect because you're not expecting these eyes to open and close. And it also gives quite a nice effect for the image. I can see a bit more there perhaps. So this is not changing the grain, this is actually changing the style image which is being transferred. So I might finish this particular piece off with a bit of a grungy texture. So I can use some of the other image transforms available. So this is adding a bit of a kind of a dirty look on top of it. And you can still see the eyes coming through there. And I may well finish off by just adding a bit of a lighting effect to give it a bit more photorealism with a floodlight effect there. So that is a very different style transferred image to the kind of ones you normally see in style transfer paper, all afforded in this quick and fun way in the Art Done Quick app. I hope that's explained how we can use style transfer in the app, and do get in touch with me if you want any more information. Thanks for listening.